Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this video, we are going to see how to find a row using the DataView. In this specific video, we will see how to find a single row using the find method. The rows collection of a data table has find method. We already saw that, which allows finding a row through primary key, right? So if we have a data table, we make use of rows collection and then we will use the find method. And the find method will take primary key and thereby it returns a single row. The DataView's find method, that means there is a find method in data tables row collection and there is a find method in DataView also. So the DataView's find method will not have such a restriction. That means here you no need to pass any primary key for DataView's find method. You can call this find. This find means the DataView's find method on any column, providing that we already sorted it. So that's the stuff that is required on the find method of the DataView. So if you are finding a row based on a specific column, we should first sort that column. After that, we can employ the find method on the DataView. If you are searching for a single row, right, the find method of DataView will be useful. That means the find method will return a single row, and if that's the case, you can apply this find method on a unique column or on a primary key column. So if you see that the data is unique on that specific column, then you can apply the find method of the DataView. The find method of the DataView returns ordinal position of the row. That means it will give you the index. So once you have the index in hand, we can use that index to fetch the required row. So if you see, first you have to sort, then you can apply the find method. The find method will give you the ordinal position, and using that ordinal position you can fetch the required row. The picture here shows how the find method works. So let's say we have a data table. To apply find method, first you have to sort the column. So let's say I am sorting the third column. Let's say this third column is some country, right, or country code. And once you sorted that, you can make use of find method on this column X. So what this find method will do, it will go and scan the sorted column. So once it finds a specific row, then it will return ordinal position, right? Once ordinal position is returned, from there you can fetch and pick the value. So now let's look at the example in detail. So here find by ID, we already saw that in the form, right? So there is a button, ID button, find by ID. So when you click that, what we do from TBL customer, right? This TBL customer is our data table. From there, we are retrieving the data view using the default view property. So this default view property will give us the data view, right? So once we have the view, if you see, first we are sorting it by the customer ID. View.sort, here we are making use of the sort property and specify customer ID, right? Here we are, the button click is based on find the customer by ID. So here we are supplying the customer ID column to the sort property. That means here first we are sorting it, right? First we need to sort, and that's why we are sorting it. After that, and here you can see from this view, after the sort, we are applying the find method, right? View.find txt find customer id dot text. There will be a text before the find button. So here user will fill the customer id in a text box, so that we are supplying to the find method. And if you see, the customer id column is already sorted, and to the find method we are supplying the value for the customer id. So as already told, this will return ordinal position, so we are storing that in the row index, right? If row index is less than 0, then we doesn't find anything. Suppose if user provided the customer id that is not there in the table, then it will return a row index in negative. So that's what we are checking. So this means that the find method doesn't find any row. So if that is the case, we are returning from this click event. Next, here from view, if you see, we are fetching the specific row, view of row index. We are giving the ordinal index, and what it will return is the data row view, right? And we are stating that as column value. So if you see here, this is the find method, right? To that find method, we picked the row based on the ordinal position. That means we picked this entire record, right? Based on what? Based on the sorted column. So this is how we located the column, and index 1 is the first, the second row, right? Then view of row index will give the data row view. So this is what the entire data row view, right? This is second row, data row view. And then we are simply forming the content. If you see, data row view, we are calling it as column values, right? Column values of customer ID, column values of company name. Likewise, if there are other column, you can retrieve that also. But here we are retrieving column values of customer ID and column values of company name. That means we are picking two data. Say for example, let's assume this is the customer ID and this one is the company name, right? That means we have to sort in the picture, we have to sort the ID because we are finding it based on the ID, right? And these two column we picked. If you want to pick other column, you can specify that column value of X, column value of Y, like that you can retrieve. In this case, if you see string.format, we are just forming the string customer ID 0, company name in the next line. So after that we are printing a underline. And that's how we are forming the string, and then to our multi-line text box using the append text method, we are giving this result, right? So that's all. Now let's go to the demo and see how this is working. So this is our form. Let's go to Solution Explorer and go with the view code. And in the view code, if you see, first we included the SQL client. So this is the namespace required to work with the SQL database. After that, we declared two member for our form class members. So TBL customer is the data table, right? We created a new data table and we are keeping it here. We will populate that in the load. Then we have one data adapter also, and that is at present null. So first we need to handle the form load. For that, I am clicking some area in the form. Make sure form is displayed here. Then switch to the event. Then double click on the load. So this will give us the form load event. So inside the form load, first we are forming the select string. So this is the Northwind database, right? So from Northwind database, we are taking the customer. So this is the query we are using, right? So you can first form the query in SQL Server and make sure it is working fine, right? There are 91 customers here, and these are all the columns we are picking: customer ID, company name, contact title, country, and city, right? So once SQL string is formed, we create the adapter. So adapter is empty, right, as a form member, and now we are creating the adapter with the new keyword. First we are giving the select string, then we are giving property for Northwind. So this is already configured here. Under settings, if you see type, we have selected it as connection string. Then we formed the connection string using this dialog. So you can do the same. This we saw already multiple time in our previous sub-series. So here we are supplying the Northwind connection string. After that, missing schema action, we are making use of this missing schema action dot add with key property. This also we saw multiple time. This will be useful when we are going with the primary key based operation, like finding a row used primary key. So when we find a row using primary key, that time there's a missing schema action will be useful. And finally, using the adapter dot fill method, we are filling the data table. So this is TBL customer, right? This is the data table and we are filling it. So the data table will be filled with this select query. So all these stuffs are happening during the form load. Next, if you see, this is our first data grid view, right? List of customer. We named it as DGV all customers. Right, now we have data table in hand. We will supply this data table to our data grid view. And here if you see DGV all customer data source property, we are setting that with the TBL customer. After that, here we are adjusting the width of each grid columns. So this is based on trial and error. We set the width. Now let's rebuild this solution. Alright, now we can run it. And if you see here, list of customers are populated when the form is loading. Right, so it displays all the customers. And here if you see, at this moment we used the data table. Using the data table, we populated our first grid. Right, so now we will see how to extract data view from this populated data table. So this code is not shown in the PowerPoint slide. Now we will retrieve the data view from the already populated data table. So this is CMD find by ID, and this one is txt find cust ID. So here we are asking for customer ID, right? Now let's double click, and so here is the click event. So in the click event, if you see, this is what we are handling. We already saw this in the PowerPoint slide. TBL customer is already populated here, right? From there we are getting the default view. Default view, if you see, it returns data view. That's why we are storing that here in the data view. Then we are accessing the sort property, and to that sort property we are giving customer ID. Why? Because here customer ID is what we are asking, so we supply the customer ID column. So in the select list, if you see, this is the customer ID. So make sure you supply the correct name. Do not do any spell mistake. So at this step, we are sorting the view. Note here, we are not sorting the data table. Here we are sorting the data view based on the customer ID. After that, we are making call to the find method, right? So this find method, we are supplying the customer ID, right? Txt find customer ID dot text. So this is the txt find customer ID, right? So using the text property, we return the value entered by the user, and this will give us the row index. When row index is less than 0, it doesn't find any customer ID, so we are simply returning from the click event. But if we actually find any row, then we retrieve that row using the view of row index, right? This will give us the data row view, and we name that as column values. Finally, we form the string.format customer ID 0. So we supply column value of customer ID, then column value of company name, right? That we are supplying it here. Company name, we are displaying it in the next line, and in the final line we are printing the some kind of line. That's all. Finally, once we form the string, we are giving it to the append text of our txt result. All right. So this is a multi-line text, right? We are displaying the record found by this find method. All right. Now we will rebuild this solution, and we can run it now. So EASTC. So we know that this is not there, and when you click find, nothing happens, right? But if you see, the view is already sorted because of this sort property. All right. Now let's cut down this. This time it will find a valid row, and we will not return from this find method click event handler. So once we find a specific row, we use the view of row index. So the ordinal position we will get, right? So when I click find, you will get customer ID EASTC customer ID. So this is the column we are picking. Then we are picking company name. Company name, if you see, Eastern Connection. All right. So that's how here we display. Now let me keep a breakpoint and do this again. Here we have column values, right? So here in the immediate window, I'm placing a question mark, then Control C, column values. Before that, we have to get past this line. Let me do a step over. And if you see, okay, column value is not showing. We can go with the auto window. There we can pick the column values. So in the column values, using the ordinal position, we can retrieve all the rows. All right. So you can examine this using question mark column values of. Here we retrieved just customer ID and company name only, right? For example, we will test country as well as city. So that will return the country. So here what we mean to say is we can pick any column. So we already found the row. Okay, I made a mistake. Country of city I'm keeping. So here column values. And here we can go with the city. This will display the city. So that means even though we used only customer ID and company name here, you can use other values also. You can fetch other values, country, city, whatever is there in the data. You can pick all these columns, right? So that's all here in this video. Just now you saw the demo. Thank you for watching. Bye.